He was the greatest piece of ass I've ever had, and I've had him all over the world. And then Johnny Fontaine comes along with his olive oil voice and getting charm. And she runs off.
Of course I know who you are. You think I'd had to come into my son's life without checking you out? But I hired you for your abilities as a teacher, not as a fortune teller. Now, don't give me any argument. The ice is gonna break!
Vino veritas.
Tragic Radis.
Creda Judas Sotella non ego.
Juventus Stultora. Magister. Pace Requiescat.
You know, that was the time I was most frightened, waiting for my turn. I'll never put on a life jacket again.
What do you think I am, huh? What do you think I am, a fucking worm like you? I told you, man. I told you, don't fuck with me. I told you, no fucking kids. No, but you wouldn't listen. Well, you stupid fuck. Look at you now.
How do you know of Jarrell? Well, my fullness, as I explained to you before, I'm about the best there is. Revenge.
Hold it, Silverfield. What were you two doing? In the shit house, in the dark. Were you going down on him?
What's the matter with you?
Tomorrow.
There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
Welcome, folks, to the latest and long overdue episode of Radio Karate. I'm your host, Fillmore, a.k.a. Jim Fix, and we're back. Me, Carrie, Derek, a.k.a. Daryl, and Wayne. We're here to tell you about what we've been seeing, what bullshit pop culture films we've seen over the last little while. So how you guys all doing?
Good, thanks.
Doing all right. Hanging in there.
Okay, so first thing for a change, guys, I wanted to show them and actually record us watching the Morbius trailer together. And I'm going to turn down the volume a bit, but I want to make sure you guys can hear it. And I want to be able to hear. Anytime you guys want to just chime in with something, please tell me. Because I saw this, I showed it to my students. They didn't know what the fuck it was. I remember the last podcast we all did together, I said, they got to go down this Whoa! that was like a break
waves.
Yeah.
Oh, this is like a beanbag chair kind of thing.
Wayne's adding his own special effects, guys. Sound effects.
I think Wayne's at his beach house.
I remember saying that that they have to go this Night Stalkers route. They got to go the Ghost Rider and get dark and dirty and rated R. But this is a PG-13 film they've decided to make, Morbius. And when I showed the trailer to my students, they looked at it like they were looking at, I don't know, the original Brady Bunch, movie or something like that. Like the trailer did nothing for them. And it shouldn't, because who the fuck knows about Morbius except comic geeks, real comic geeks.
Yep, long-time Spider-Man fans.
Exactly.
I think he was back. Last time I saw him around was when they had the big vampire kick at Marvel.
Uh-huh.
With Twilight, way back then.
Yeah, trying to get on that. But anyway, this is what they've decided to come out with.
You need a doctor?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I am a doctor.
The only thing I ever bought this guy as was an HIV patient in that Dallas Buyers Club.
People all over the world have my disease. To find a cure,
he just looks like such a fruit.
Push the boundaries, take the risks. If you're gonna run, do it now.
Dr. Michael Morbius, you've been missing for 2 months.
When you're a stranger,
Then you were found on a container ship that washed up off of Long Island.
faces look ugly.
That sounds like exactly how they found the script as well. It was washed up somewhere. Fuck. I can tell this is going to be maybe it's not going to be a bomb. What's your guys' take so far? We're a minute into the trailer. I don't even know that I want to go any further.
I'm already bored.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sony seems very desperate to create this Spider-Man universe using characters that really don't mean jack shit without Spider-Man.
Right.
being
But
involved.
Sony's they're doing the Venom stuff too, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to try, and the people have said that this is very Venom-esque, and I still haven't seen either Venom, and I have no desire to, because I just, I haven't even seen the fucking Spider-Man ones. That's how bad I am. The No Way Home or the latest trailer, that one actually looks half decent, but I didn't see the new ones with Tom Holland, except for when he's in the Avengers, because I just have no interest.
When you're alone.
What did you do to yourself, Doctor?
I wish I knew. I went from dying to being more alive than ever.
It worked.
Not exactly. I have increased strength and speed, some form of bat radar. What else can I do?
There are limits. There has to be.
There's something inside of me who wants to hunt and consume blood.
Michael.
When you're
Can you control it?
I don't know.
Half the city wants to kill you.
We haven't had anything this good since that thing in San Francisco.
The other half wants to control you.
Hey, Dr. Mike, you and I should stay in touch.
Jesus.
I do anything to save a life. But I don't know what I'm capable of.
You save lives, you don't take them.
Are you
What the fuck does that even mean?
What's that?
What the fuck does that even mean? You're a vampire, but you save lives, you don't take them. He needs to drink blood. I'm assuming...
They're talking about him as a doctor, like being a doctor first, kind of.
But he's not even that kind of doctor. He's like a
hematologist,
like a biochemist or something. It's not like he's working in an emergency.
Yeah, he's like a scientist.
Maybe they made him. Maybe they made him an MD like Doctor Strange as well, and so they include Michael Keaton, who's the Vulture, right, in the latest Spider-Man films.
I just read that Keaton's doing extra reshoots specifically for this movie.
Oh wow, it must be that shitty.
Yeah, and considering it comes out in January and you're doing reshoots right now, they must be trying to bump up the Spider-Man connection by having in it.
Oh God.
Or to destroy it.
Who the hell are you, man?
I am Venom. I'm just kidding. It's Dr. Michael Morbius at your service.
Yeah, What's that?
Why is he talking like that?
I have no idea.
There's an affectation to the way Leto's speaking that seems very
kind of sound like Rain Man.
Yeah, like what is that for?
That affectation is for our benefit.
But he does. Yeah, he does that in a lot of his movies. I just rewatched the other day Blade Runner 2049, and I forgot he was in it. And then in his scenes, he has this weird affectation with his voice and his just entire presentation. I don't know. Do you guys remember that? He was the company that took over Tyrell, and he had like his eyes were like clouded over. I don't know if he was blind. I don't know what the hell he was doing.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it.
I didn't see it, so I can't say, but I remember thinking immediately, why the fuck, for example, Christian Bale doing that voice thing for Bane? Was it the Batman Bane one film? What was that one? That's how much little I cared about that fucking movie. But I just remember the one he did with Anne Hathaway and he did what the fuck? This is acting.
I think he took it literally, like in the comic.
Wait, you mean Leto, or I mean?
I mean, actors who do that, like they adopt an affectation. Leto doing this how's it different from Christian Bale doing gruff Batman? You know.
Oh, they made fun of him in South Park for that. That was really funny.
Fantastic. I was gonna say, let's go right into let's start with why don't we start with Dune first? Because I from what I understand, almost everybody's going to be on call for giving this a thumbs up. Let's just go clockwise according to my Skype. Wayne, what did you give it out of 10, Dune?
Oh, out of 10, I'd like 8. This I just read the book like right before I saw the movie, and I mean there's a lot of stuff that they edited out, but that was fine with me. It's I thought it was done well.
And had really you read the book? Had you read the book ages ago and just reread it, or was it the first time you read it?
I tried to read it in high school, but I just couldn't get through it. But now it's easy to read for some reason. Maybe because I read more. I don't know.
Yeah. So 8 out of 10. What about you, Carrie? You got a chance to see that?
Oh yeah. You know me. I was there opening night.
Yeah.
So I would give it. Yeah. I would give it a 9. I really enjoyed it. We'll get into some critiques, but for the most part, I thought it was great. It was spectacular. And, I mentioned Blade Runner 2049. I rewatched it specifically because of Villeneuve, the director, and wanted to kind of see the differences. I mean, he was really forced to stay within the context of the source material, so he could like go off on these wild 5-minute setup shots like he did in Blade Runner, and it really showed. But I think he did a very good job, and he stuck fairly close to the material. And admittedly, Dune's a very hard book to turn into a film, especially a film for the masses that are who are going to be catch any of the subcontext. I mean, it's pretty dense.
Would you say, because I do remember, stupid question to ask you if you'd seen it, because I didn't know if you had your lucky chair like Wayne does, but you had high expectations for this, especially considering the David Lynch, kind of debacle of the first one, which is the only Dune I saw up until this one, actually, and I never read the books. So did this one, was it better than you thought, or were you expecting it to be shit?
No, it was better. It was better than I thought. I mean, and I liked, Lynch's Dune was my introduction to Dune.
Me too.
I was,
me too.
I was in my late teens, early 20s, and when Lynch's Dune came out in 1984, and so I didn't read it in high school like the rest of the nerds did. So, I was just kind of like mesmerized by it. I really liked Lynch's version of it.
Have you watched it recently?
I tried to, and I just can't anymore.
Yeah,
this new one has really kind of supplanted it.
Yeah, no, I watched it after the new one, and but it's still, the special effects are like 1984, but the style to it I like the old, like old timey kind of Art Deco kind of, I don't know what you want to, upholstery.
Yeah.
Set design, and all that.
And that's what saves it.
Yeah.
Derek, what about you, man? I imagine you give it some high. I imagine you gave it high marks.
Give it probably like an 8.
Really not having any knowledge, I have to give it also a solid 8, if not higher, because in fact I was pleasantly surprised because I only knew from the 84 movie, and even then I wasn't a huge fan. But the visual style, it really had that feel of the first Total Recall in terms of that was the last time they kind of used miniatures to create a whole environment that looked like otherworldly. And nowadays it would be CGI, and that was CGI, I'm certain, but it didn't look it. I hate when movies get caught out using CGI, like in Gladiator, like the tigers being, the CGI in Gladiator was so shitty. for some of the effects and the blood that it was kind of jarring. You're left going, okay, now I'm watching a movie. You know that expression when they say, "Oh, I caught him acting," and that means that you've the magic is kind of gone. I liked it a lot, actually, and I was only pissed off that it wasn't the complete story. I was still waiting for, Sting to come out and with the Gom Jabbar, and but they wanted to make it. I read somewhere that Villeneuve was pissed. They released it on, was it HBO Max?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, everyone was pissed off about the HBO Max thing.
Yeah, he
all
was.
the producers and directors and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, because from what I understood, they thought if it didn't perform well, they wouldn't release a sequel, and that would have been catastrophe for Dune fans.
Did you guys all see it in the theater?
Right. But they did pick it up.
Yeah, I went to see it twice. I saw it twice, and I'd like to see it again before it's gone.
Yeah, you have to see it in the theater. I mean, there's no other way. I mean, I can't imagine watching it on HBO Max. It's crazy.
Well,
I watched 65-inch television. It looked perfectly fine on HBO Max.
Did you deliberately stand like 6 feet in front of it to make sure that you felt like you were in the front row? No, I watched it on a 24-inch monitor, and I was fine with it. I was fine with watching it that way, but I prefer IMAX treatment, absolutely, and sound especially. Maybe
if you use binoculars, it would work.
Maybe, or those. What do they call those? I don't know if they're binoculars. What are they in the operas you've seen in movies? They put that one-handled thing to their. Not a monocle, obviously.
The opera glasses. Yeah,
opera glasses. Yeah, maybe you need that. I was just talking to my sister, who's big in movies, and she loved it as well. And she had no expectations, so she said give it like a 9 out of 10 for sure. So I think across the board, what the general consensus is good. All the ratings are good, but the film company said they had, regardless if it performed well on HBO Max, in other words, viewing wise, they were going to greenlight a sequel anyway. But everybody, I don't think other people knew that. I don't think fans knew that, and that's why they were up in arms about it. Because if they lost the box office money, then they figured, oh God, we won't get a sequel, and that would piss a lot of people off.
It did well in both, though, didn't it? It was like massively viewed on HBO Max, and it did well at the box office.
I think so. Didn't Villeneuve? Did he direct Mad Max as well?
Yeah.
Okay, if he directed that and that did very well, that one got such great reviews. I can't imagine there wasn't a built-in audience for this. Not even just Dune fans, but fans of him.
I don't think
He had some Blade Runner fans too. I think.
Blade Runner, fuck, that was it too. Jesus, that means he was the perfect person to do this, pretty much.
Which I did watch recently, and I did not like that Blade Runner.
Yeah, but
the sequel. See, the reason I like that is because you came out of the theater feeling like whacked out. It was like you were drugged or something. When it had a weird feel to it that. When you left the theater, it was like you were like high or something. It was strange.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody else noticed it.
I still haven't seen the original Blade Runner, so I have
Blade Runner or Dune?
Yeah, the sequel. Was it 2054 or something?
Yeah,
the new Blade Runner.
It really. I think the problem wasn't Villeneuve really, although he's got a habit of setting up shots and lingering on them. Like, look how fantastic this cinematography is that I'm showing you people.
Yeah.
But the premise of that movie was really stupid, that you could have bioengineered humans reproduce. Or, it's like, huh? Yeah.
I did notice that I don't think I'd seen the other films, but this one, you're right. There were a lot of long shots, but I felt they added to the whole mystique because if you were, I tried to approach watching this as if I was a newcomer to Dune, and as far as I understood, Dune originally inspired Star Wars, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh yeah.
It went, and as we know, Star Wars is just the greatest written film ever. But the idea that if you went in, it's hard to go in as an older film viewer and completely go in neutral. Because there's so much. There's so many influences. Rotten Tomatoes. You get things on your phone telling you, "Oh, this is out," and the reviews are in, and it's almost like if you want to see the Super Bowl the day after, but not hear what happened. Try to get away from social media, and it's almost impossible.
Well, I did it with No Time to Die. I avoided everything to do with that movie, and I'm glad I did. But Dune, I saw things here and there.
Okay, well, with No Time to Die, first of all, how many of you guys have seen? Have you guys all seen it? That's another one on my list.
I saw that, and I avoided all spoilers by going on a Thursday night to go see it. So
yeah.
Carrie, have you seen it?
No one in the theater and no spoilers, so it was great.
So should we tell people that there's spoilers if we're going to talk about it?
Well, I mean, the cat's out of the bag. You can just throw a rock, you're going to hit spoilers at this point.
Right.
So, and I usually watch the end of read at the end of a book before I start it. So, I'm not, if a movie is online, I look at the ending too. I love to spoil it. I don't have any problem with that. So. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you think it was worth it? Better? Was it the best of the Craig?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! What am I?
Absolutely.
Daniel Craig Bonds.
Yeah, I thought it was. Skyfall is really good, but I like this even more. Never mind that it was a long movie, but it's not boring.
That's key. Derek?
Yeah.
It wasn't my favorite. I think I like Skyfall better and Casino Royale better, but this one comes in like third. I think my biggest issue with it was that for the Craig Bond ending, like most of the stuff that was going on was about that French woman and not James Bond. Like if they would have just, instead of killing Blofeld and made everything that was happening be Blofeld trying to kill Bond by using the French woman and Bond's little bastard, then I would have thought maybe then it would have been better because it would have been focused on James Bond. But this is basically Frenchie LaRue's story with James in tow, and it, that was the only thing that bothered me about the film. I didn't even mind that they blew him up at the end.
So in case you haven't seen it, guys, now you don't have to.
It's on home video. If you haven't seen it, shame on you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I think there used to be a ritual for a friend of mine when he was still over here, and he whenever a new Bond film would come out, we would definitely go to see it together. But last one we saw before he went back to Canada was Quantum of Solace. It was so long ago, and it was such a piece of shit.
That's not good.
It really is one of the worst Bonds, and then it was during the writer's strike when I found out that they had to do the work themselves. Like Daniel Craig had a hand in the script after the fact because they didn't want to cross the picket lines. They decided, well, I'm not part of SAG, so I can do this. And the director,
it was really short. The director pissed me off right from the get-go with that shaky cam. You couldn't see anything. I don't know if you tried to watch it again. I watched them all recently, like all the Daniel Craig ones, and just the beginning of it, there's a car chase and you can't see anything, just flashes.
It's like the Transformers or something.
Right, that's what you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say it was like the Transformers.
Lots of quick cuts and shaky cams. Like, have you guys ever seen that clip from, I forget what Liam Neeson movie it is, but it's supposed to be Liam Neeson and he's jumping over a fence. But because he's 1,000 years old, they took what is basically a 15-second scene of Liam Neeson jumping over a fence, and there's like 47 edits in it, so it's cut all to hell.
Of course.
to give you the illusion that he's actually leaping over a fence without breaking a hip.
I think might have even been Artie who said one time that's the one thing that kill a comedy is too many edits, and I think it's the way to kill any film is too many edits. Yeah. When you see it, you're always looking at, okay, so where's the bullshit? You're looking for the bullshit. You're looking for the stool to make the guy look taller. You're looking for the lighting, like the fake lighting to make him look well lit in the scene where seemingly it's at night. You lose the magic basically. So So, what do you guys, when you compare, how does we know that it compares more than favorably to the David Lynch film, which David Lynch has sort of disowned now, I guess, and because he complained that they wouldn't give him final cut and that there's more to the original. How do you guys compare the two, and can you compare the two, the Villeneuve version and the David Lynch version? Wayne?
I would like to see a full version of what he did. And like I said, I had no problem with it. Maybe because it hit me just at the right time. I think I was like 17 when it came out.
Yeah,
and that's when I went and got the book. But yeah, the new one. The other thing too is they added in some scenes that weren't in the book into this movie that I thought looked really well. The whole when they were turning over the planet, I don't remember that being in the book. And I like that added scene. They took out like a political scene, like in the book where they were around a table, talking politics, and you can understand. I guess it was shot, but it was taken out of the film.
Yeah,
and that's okay because it would have been nice to have it. Maybe we'll get it in the Blu-ray or something. But yeah, I got to see it. I was lucky. I got to see it on the what they call X Plus at my theater. It's like the extra big screen. Got my F7 seat, and as usual, is back. And so I saw all these movies in that that have come out recently. But you have to see it big. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah. What about you, Carrie?
Well, there were a couple of things I thought that Villeneuve did well, but that like he and Lynch kind of that Lynch actually did a little bit better on, and one of those was like the mentats, like in Lynch's Dune. Oh God, I can't remember the actor who played Thufir Hawat, but Freddie Jones, that was his name. He's an older English actor, and Brad Dourif played the Harkonnens mentat, who was Peter de Vries. And in Villeneuve's Dune, you got a little bit of, and I thought the actor that played Thufir Hawat did a good job, but the actor that played Peter de Vries, the character, it was really underdeveloped. I'm like, man, they could have done so much more. But then at the same time, it's hard to beat Brad Dourif at anything. I mean, that guy's just great. But for casual fans, I mean, for people that have read the book or seen Lynch's Dune, what mentats are. But for people like the person I was sitting next to when I was watching it, my wife, she had no idea what was going on with the guy when his eyes started rolling back in his head and he started talking about numbers or whatever. She's like, "What the hell's the guy? Did have a seizure? What's going on?"
Yeah, it was so short that most people wouldn't have known because it's so short. It just his eyes rolled to the back of his head, and you wouldn't know unless you read the book.
Yeah, Derek.
Right. And what's interesting too is that's okay. I saw an edit there, and you can watch. There are a lot of, if you go on YouTube, you can watch the edits or the cuts that were lifted out of Lynch's Dune that should have been in the movie. And yeah, you're right. I mean, if they should give Lynch whatever he wants to do his own version, but it's probably never going to happen. But anyway, I also saw a cut or an outtake from Villeneuve's Dune, and it was the same. And Wayne would remember this from the book. Thufir got captured by the Harkonnens after that takeover, and they didn't show it in either movie. I mean, we may see it in part 2, but I know like a lot of Dune maniacs were like kind of upset about that, like kind of the development of that part of the story.
Would you guys say, and then I'm going to ask Derek what your take was, but I want to ask this one just leading into that. Would you guys say that this is definitely a film that would be better with anything that they deleted, or do you think it's fine as it is?
It's really long, so I don't think there's much that was left on the editing room floor.
You never know these days.
But if there is, especially considering that they showed it on HBO Max, and the way HBO Max did with Zack Snyder's Justice League, it's possible we will get the extended version once it's like out of theaters completely and it comes to HBO Max only. So if there's a director's cut, we could still get it.
Yeah, because I always figure they have more in the can, even though at 2 hours and 30 minutes, yeah, it's a long film, but I didn't find it felt like 2.5 hours. And that's, I think, a key to a good movie.
Well, that's what happened with those Lord of the Rings. The Lord of the Rings movies were 3 hours, and you felt it by the end. You'd be exhausted, And I have no problem seeing a 3-hour movie if it keeps moving along.
Yeah,
and this did. So if they added the political scene around the table thing later on, I'd be happy to see it. It wouldn't. I'm always happy to pay for a 3-hour movie. As long as as long as it moves along.
Well, yeah, the ticket prices aren't prorated. You're not paying more for 3 hours.
Well, no Time to Die. How long was that? That was really long, and that moved along.
Yeah, pacing is also key. Yeah,
it was like 2 hours 30 minutes too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No Time to Kill. So, Carrie, what about you? If there's more, like, let's say there's a half hour in the can, are you all for it? Or are you saying like, nah, it's probably was better it was out?
Well, I was reading an article about Villeneuve, and he's, how some directors, I guess like Lynch and other directors, they want that final cut. There's more to the movie and this and that. And there's pressure from the producers rather than the director to make the cuts or whatever. Villeneuve, from what I read, like what he puts out, that's it. Like he's not a big director's cut person. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen, and like, hopefully he doesn't get pissed off like Lynch did, and there's an Alan Smithy HBO Max version of Dune. But yeah, I mean, it was fine the way it was. Like I said, it's really, it's a 9 out of 10 for me, and the only reason why it's not a 10 out of 10 is just being a Dune nerd nitpicking. That's all. It was fine the way it was, and we're going to get a whole second movie, so I'm fine with that.
I'm trying to think of films that actually benefited from extra footage, and there's not a lot of them, but the ones that I think are substantial, like The Outsiders. There was an extra 20 minutes or so that they added to it on the DVD cut, and they took out Nino Rota's score, and they added contemporary music. And I got a huge argument with this film nerd, who claimed that it was way better with the original score, and I go, you could argue that, but I think with the period music, they chose good music anyway, and it was fine. Like, I didn't notice it being that jarring, but the extra footage, the 20 minutes extra, was more exposition. Like, it was, how Adrian Brody got cut out of the Thin Red Line, but didn't know it and went to the premiere, and he was, featured in it, but he was completely cut out of the movie. And imagine how I would have fucking strangled the director at that point. At least tell me so I can just not go. And then also the plantation scene in Apocalypse Now, which a lot of people I know don't like, but I prefer the Redux. I liked more. I loved more of that film. With this,
for the sequel, now pretty much everybody's dead. It will be cheaper to make the sequel as far as actors. Because pretty much everyone's dead except,
Well, I hadn't thought about the bottom line there, but you might be right.
That's why I was when I was sitting in the theater, I was like, well, pretty much everybody's dead, so at least they can give us a sequel, and that will come in on less money if it doesn't perform.
What about casting? Do you guys think they're both, like, how do you think each version did in terms of casting? Where do you think they went better than the other, or were they even Steven? What are your thoughts, Derek?
I think. All right. I think The Baron was probably the only place where I thought casting was a win for Lynch.
Uh-huh.
Even just casting, the way the character was developed, because The Baron was disgusting in Lynch's movie, and in this new one, he was just evil, and I wanted more. Like, I wanted to have the same gross, fat, pretty much pedophile that was in the Lynch movie.
Yeah.
He was draining blood out of people's nipples and trying to bone Sting. Like, I wanted that creepy guy instead of just basically a human blimp floating around like it was in the new movie. Like I needed more awfulness from the new Baron.
No, the Lynch one had like most of them. They were like look like gay Irish or something. They're all like redheads.
Yes.
Riverdance.
Yeah.
Yeah, either glam rock or Riverdance. Those were your two choices in the Lynch movie. But
Carrie,
everybody else
you?
was better. Like Duncan Idaho was 1,000 times better in the new movie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, that maybe if they would have redone the scene, you remember when the Baron and Villeneuve's Dune came out of that, I don't know, what was it, oil or whatever? That
the mud bath, yeah.
Quaker stuff.
Maybe if they would have mixed in like a guy doing flowers, like in the Lynch version, and he grabbed him and pulled him in and drowned him or something in that muck, that would have done it. That would have been a good callback. But yeah, I don't know. I was happy with the casting. I remember, but it's funny what Wayne brought up about killing off major actors. I mean, I bet they paid a pretty good amount of money to Jason Momoa, and so you don't have to worry about him anymore. You don't have to worry about him until God Emperor of Dune. That's 3 books down the road. So he might not even be a sex symbol by then.
And Oscar Isaac doesn't come cheap either. So
yeah.
Oh, right. So, but I thought their casting was pretty good. I didn't have any complaints. I mean, I was a little worried going in about Timothy Chalamet, but I thought he did fine.
Or Chalamet.
But Chalamet, I don't know. Okay.
Shamalama ding dong.
Shamalama ding dong.
It's not important enough to get right.
Okay. And all right, this shows how out of touch I am with modern pop culture. And I'll just admit it. I don't know who Zendaya is or what she's famous for. I just know she's famous.
She's MJ in those new Spider-Mans, right?
Yeah, she was. I think she started out on Disney, and then she moved into acting in the real world. So
she has a CD out too.
Yeah, she sings.
Does she sing too?
She's got that show on HBO, Euphoria, about the teenagers all doing drugs and boning each other.
Oh.
Sounds like something Wiggy wouldn't watch if you paid him because there's no trans in it.
There is a trans. They actually showed her penis. So,
oh, Jesus, then he's all over that.
I'm quite sure he's watching Euphoria. That's the name of the show. I'm sure he's mentioned it probably. I haven't listened in a while, but I'm sure he watches Euphoria.
Yeah, but I thought she did fine too. I mean, she was, a competent Chani in the film. I mean, Lynch's Dune had some great casting parts too. I don't know. My biggest gripe with his movie was Sting. I thought Sting was pretty lame and that he couldn't act, he's just Sting, That
was because the police hit just at the right time.
Yes, they did.
Crowbarred him into that movie.
Right. And he'd gone solo, I think, just about that time. And was, I don't know. He was no Roger Daltrey and Mick Vicker. But
all I remember Sting in that movie for is wearing that H.R. Geiger diaper. That's about
it. Wiggy was especially tuned into that, I'm certain.
I remember nothing else about Sting.
Well, in terms of the, I was thinking about I remember the original casting. Patrick Stewart, if he didn't make it big doing films and, this next generation, he would make a mint at Comic Cons because what's he been in? I, Claudius, Excalibur, Dune, the first Dune. Yep. He's Professor Xavier. He's probably got a stack of 20 photos from he could sign a million different things and get all kinds of autograph money if he was really hurting just by being in so many iconic parts. But then I was trying to think of Shan Phillips in the first film, who was so fucking amazing. I didn't see. This to me also is a mark of a good film. I never looked at this Villeneuve version and said, "Wow, I would have put someone else in this part."
Yeah,
I think whoever he got, it worked.
The thing that's good about the Lynch film is it's a setup for Blue Velvet, because pretty much everybody ended up in Blue Velvet.
Perfect.
Even,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, fair enough. Did you guys want to talk about Eternals at all? I've not seen it because I can't get a good version and I couldn't get to see it in the theaters, and I refuse to watch those awful cam rips. Which of you guys have seen it, Wayne?
Which what was that?
Eternals. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it at the theater. I mean, it's like something that could have been on Disney Plus, like a TV movie. It's not bad. I liked it better than Shang-Chi for sure. But I mean, I thought it was all right, except for the way they changed some of the characters for the comics. But you got to do that these days, you know.
Well, I mean, if I go into bashing Jack Kirby, we run the risk of incurring the wrath of the militant. What was her name? What was the
Gail Simone?
Gail Simone crowd. Because I said Jack Kirby did some hacky work.
I said appreciate that at all.
I said it once in a comic store, and it's like they were going to burn me as a witch. Like when I said I don't, you can't say that in front of some hardcore comic fans.
Yeah, Kirby heads.
But
what, Carrie? Did you see the Eternals?
No, I wanted to, but I couldn't get my wife back into the theater. Like after Dune. She's like, I get to pick the next movie, so we're kind of at a Mexican standoff at this point.
Derek, what about you?
I saw it and it was solidly mediocre. It was like Chloe Zhao was the wrong person to direct this movie, even though the scenery was nice. Her cinematography was, like always, was great, but the film itself was overcrowded. It was stupid. The plot was the dumbest damn thing I ever saw in my life. It had zero stakes. They had a creature, a celestial, that was in the core of the earth that birthed out of the core of the earth, and they do this big shot that looked cool when they finally stop it from exploding out of the core of the earth, that it came out just enough that if you looked at the earth from space, you could see its hand and its head sticking up out of the earth. Yet there were no reports of earthquakes, tidal waves. No one died. They just had this cataclysmic event. And there's this celestial being whose head is sticking out like when there's a turd sticking out of your ass when you're kind of constipated. But nothing happened. They just all go, hey, we saved the day. Wonderful. How's about those vengeance? It was like...
And like, why didn't she turn it to ice so it eventually would slowly melt? Now you got that hand sticking there forever.
Yeah, it's like it's a new mountain range that's bigger than Kilimanjaro.
Wait, what's that? What's that term? Turtling?
Yeah, like that. The celestial was turtling out of the Indian Ocean, I guess. And it's like, and nothing happened. Nothing came from it, and there were too many Eternals. We didn't need it was like 10 of them. We didn't need Kumail Nanjiani's Eternal. We didn't need Salma Hayek's Eternal. It was a waste of time. We didn't need half the Eternals at all.
Sounds like based on the running time that it was based on the length of the movie is called Eternals. I only read that there's a good movie in there somewhere, but they had too many characters, and even at 3 hours, not enough time to flesh out the characters. But this is what I get pissed off every time. Think of the introduction of Spider-Man into Civil War and how in less than 10 minutes, boom, you got the story. But forget him. Let's use an animation film. Up, the story of Carl and Ellie, where they explained this old couple in the span of however many things in 5 minutes. And you got that was better exposition than a lot of films I've seen in the last 10 years. And it was all visual.
Even in terms of superhero movies, Zack Snyder did the whole Minutemen story in Watchmen in the opening credits. You found out everything that happened.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
And boom. Why couldn't we get that? Instead, we get flashbacks of them in Babylonian times.
Fuck me.
It was just dumb. Everything about it was dumb. And for supposed super gods that they were supposed to be, they were some of the most weak back ass people I've ever seen. They had the worst power.
You know what?
Like the absolute worst power. The one guy, I point in a laser. What is the pointing for? It's like you're pointing and a laser comes out of your finger. Like, what is that? Angelina Jolie was fine though.
I thought it was okay. I really don't have a problem with it. It just, I mean, it's like, but it could have been on Disney Plus. It didn't need to be a big feature movie. But they avoided.
That's what it was.
the one thing that they avoided that I was like thankful for was that they didn't make Sprite like a wise ass, because that's like so standard now that you have a wise ass kid.
Fuck. Yeah,
that's Steven Spielberg's problem, But they didn't. They made the character likable. It was fine. But that was the biggest thing going into it. Is like if they have a wise ass little kid in this movie, then that they're gonna lose me. Like they did with Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi stabbed a knife in me.
Oh my God, man! Listen, we can start talking about that because I just saw it last night for the first time.
Oh, hold on. Before we move on.
Oh, please.
The guys who saw it, the after credit scene. Did that do a thing for either of you?
That's like who gives a shit, who gives a crap.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's Star Fox and Pip the Troll.
Yeah. West Coast Avengers.
What the hell is
and then the Black Knight thing.
Come on.
Those are all the hacks. Remember the West Coast Avengers or whatever back in the 80s? It was just the who gives a shit characters.
And the Black Knight didn't need to be in this movie either. You had 50 million Eternals to introduce.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're going to stick in this guy who will make a hero later, but we just want to introduce you to him now.
Carrie?
Like after we talk about all this stuff, I'd like to come around to like, do you guys really care about the Marvel Universe anymore?
Well, we'll table that right at the end.
Yeah,
because,
that's what I want to do.
Let's go through the films first. So
I do have opinions.
Yes, Carrie.
No, you know what? That's fine. I'll tag along with Wayne at the end because I had a question about like Marvel and where we're headed and that kind of stuff. So I can wait. I can wait.
Okay. I saw the film because I was like trying to force my way through, and about as soon as they got to the point where I understand that they can't have one of the main characters call the protagonist Chinaman the whole time. They can't in 2021 like they do in Shang-Chi, the actual character. But the people don't understand. Like they made this sort of secondary, tertiary, like I don't know. Shang-Chi was not even a major title back in the day, even though it lasted like 120 issues or 125 issues. But he was just the height of the passing of Bruce Lee. Everybody went kung fu and karate crazy in the 70s. That's like the people have to understand the context. Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, all this shit, and
kung fu fighting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was just, as they called them, chop sake films, and there were so many things. But he was, the MI6 connection. I would have definitely, even if they didn't go R-rated, which I wanted them to do, there's nothing like a guy master of martial arts who never kills anybody. Then they should have gone the spy route and made it low key. When they first brought in when they brought that Mandarin, they brought Ben Kingsley. Kingsley in. There was that, and then they brought in their version of fucking Gizmo from the Gremlins.
I know.
And they lost me at that point. I would have fucking thrown something at the screen if I'd been in the theater.
No. I was in the theater and I was like, God damn, like I was sitting next to a movie Steve, right? And I was like, God damn it. They said that he's the Jar Jar Binks of the Marvel Universe.
Yes.
And they did it again. The shittiest Marvel movie, Iron Man 3, and the shittiest thing in that movie, they brought it back and it's like they doubled down on making me see it again.
Yes.
And there was no reason for any of that in the film. Gizmo, the faceless animal, and that guy. There's no reason for it.
Okay, well, listen. Let's even table it this way: the Mandarin. Okay, granted. Okay, it's a character you can't really do. Fu Manchu, you can't do. Tony Leung was good, but my God, like all he had to do was sort of. It wasn't like there was a big high bar to pass with all the cast he had. The Mandarin's powers might be the coolest character in all of Marvel history. 10 rings, each one with a different power. You could have such fun with that with the effects people. You made them now like friendship bracelets on like 5 on either arm, and they're like they're almost like you remember those boots they wore in ancient Rome with the string going up like crossways across up the leg?
Yeah,
that's what it looked like to me.
Sandal boots.
Yeah, and absolutely.
Right.
Just the way that they made it, like I could understand certain liberties taking with the source material, but not that. Like, why waste one of the best villains in Marvel? You could get so much real estate out of that character, and instead, no, he's going to wear all these, like little bracelets, and that's the 10 rings of power. What?
Yeah, I hated the bracelets thing. The bracelets thing was stupid. It should have just been the 10 rings that did what they do in the comic books. I also have an issue with the way that they have basically just pussied out on the Mandarin thing.
Yes.
We get it. When the Mandarin was created, it was racist as all hell.
Yeah.
Fine. But the character still exists in your comic books because writers have taken what was a awfully racist concept, updated it to the modern times, and created a multifaceted character that you can use all over the Marvel Universe. Why is it that the movie goes, well, when he was created, it was, it was racist. We can't do that.
Right.
Bruh, it's not racist anymore.
Right.
Don't make the racist version of Mandarin. Make the version that you see in the comics now. Like, why are you guys acting like, oh, we can't possibly? Like, it's dumb.
His name is not Chink. It's not like you mentioned. Like, that's the way they're treating it. They're going, look, if change his name to Egg Roll, then if that bothers you, change his name to, I don't know, fucking Chop Suey.
What's his name?
There's a Wonder Woman villain called Egg Foo that is basically just a giant egg that looks like a racist character of a Chinese person. DC can never put Egg Foo in a movie because there's nothing you can do with Egg Foo because everything about it is racist as fuck.
We never talked about Wonder Woman.
You can't make a modern day. You can't update Amos and Andy. You know what I mean? It's just not gonna
can't.
work.
No.
So long as, like you said, it's not Egg Foo or Egg Roll or Chinaman or whatever. I mean, you can't use those offensive terms, but
it's not. There are racist characters that you can't update. The Mandarin is not one of them, and Marvel just continues to double down, keep bringing back the weirdo actor guy. And they think it's comic relief. I don't see the comic relief. It's just like Wayne said. That's Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah.
And then they double Jar Jar Binks it by adding that little CGI critter thing that was running around with him too. It was unnecessary. Like, the choices in this movie were just insane.
It didn't make sense.
Was a dumb choice.
They got a map. They got a map of how to get to the place, so the bad guy knew how to get to the place, right? Because of that little, map thing that they showed that was on the floor. So why did they need that stupid faceless thing to get them there when they had the map?
Because we needed a car scene.
They didn't even put out a toy. They didn't put a toy out for that thing. So what was the point?
I don't know, and this is the thing that bothers me the most. Like, Wong is in there, fine. They want to tie it in. There is no need to make. There's a little bit of mysticism in the mythology of Shang-Chi the character, because I loved it growing up. I loved even some crossovers. You'd have Iron Fist and Power Man, which would have been good if they hadn't twinked him up and if they just made it a little less woke and done more work on the casting. But if you went that route and made it a spy thing and made it rated R, I mean, you've already done it with Deadpool. Why not do it with another couple characters? And with Doctor Strange, it doesn't mean they can't cross over into these PG other films and be, kind of tamed down there. But there was no need to throw this dragons and shit. It's about a guy who knows the martial arts. It's not about the mysticism. They decided to go through this fucking trope of we have to have this big motherfucker battle at the end. No, you don't. You don't. You could make it 1-on-1, 2-on-1. You can make him do like a Game of Death type thing where he's going through all the pagoda and he's going through different villains to get to the boss, like every good martial arts film does. There's always like a couple of villains you got to get through. And that's a formula that totally would work with this. But no, they decided you paid your however much money, you paid for your tickets, and you got your popcorn, and you got the figurines. We have to make this so that it's always the end of the Avengers, or it's the end of Iron Man, this big motherfucker battle. You don't have to. You don't have to. You can look at Endgame. Endgame had a lot of action, but it ended on a downer, and it was still massively successful. You don't have to always have the good guy triumph. You don't always have to have all this shit happen. It was a wasted opportunity, and if I had to give it a fucking score, I'm giving it a 4 tops.
When well, the other thing too is the post-credit scene. You know, when they had to bring in Captain Marvel too. Might as well go for broke.
Oh,
and I was like, why is she there? Like, why would they not have a budget to have a cameo by somebody better? You know, like, why wasn't Doctor Strange there?
Yes, well, because I guess because Wong is in the film, and that's your representation there. But the tie-ins, like if you want to tie them in with other characters, there's ways to do it. I read somewhere that she's actually not going to be Captain Marvel going ahead. They're getting rid of
I heard that too.
Couldn't have heard better news. And if they put the chick who played her friend in the Captain Marvel film, who was a better actress, I forget her name.
Yeah.
If they make her Captain Marvel, that's way better for all concerned.
She's dead. That character. It would
What's
have
that?
to be her daughter.
Oh yes, her daughter. Yeah, Monica Rambeau. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like the next one in training. But
right.
And good, we would have to sit through that vocal fry and all the rest of it, you know. Even for the 10 seconds that she was on the screen at the end of Shang-Chi or whatever, she still had to do the vocal fry.
Yeah.
You know, that the Jar Jar, between the Jar Jar Binks, and then that was just like the kick in the ass out the door for me, you know. It was like, wonderful.
Well, the martial arts. The martial arts choreography was good. It was actually very good, but again, it was reminiscent of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or Hero, or any of those type of kind of artsy martial arts film. I didn't have a problem with that, and the casting for the most part was okay. Now, the main character, that's always going to be a tough one because they wanted to make this the Asian Black Panther. Basically, we want to tap into the market, and then they never ended up getting shown in China, from what I understand. China wouldn't show the movie.
So they could have had the Mandarin.
Yeah, they could have had him like operate his own fucking take.
You know, good. That's two things I never want Disney to get involved in. I don't want them to touch Star Trek. I don't want them to touch James Bond. Two things I don't want them to have anything to do with, because then they'll pussy it up or whatever, and you know they'll be too afraid because of the money in China. That's why we didn't get the Shang-Chi we wanted.
It's awful.
Yeah,
I mean,
you see what they did with Star Wars. So yeah, I totally agree with you.
Well, Disney thinks they're smarter than everybody else. They think they're also thinking theme parks. They're thinking what characters can we sell instead of let's make a good fucking movie. Because here's the thing. You make like Shang-Chi an R-rated film. Yeah, you're not going to get the kids. But you know what you are going to get? The adults going to see it 3 times because they loved it that much. And they're the ones paying for the kids' tickets anyway. So, you know, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot by going for the mass appeal, in my opinion, with certain of these films. And like I said, Deadpool made shitloads of money with the adult crowd. So you don't have to pander to every common denominator. Derek?
Well, I think where they really screwed up with Shang-Chi is they didn't want to make a Shang-Chi movie. They wanted to make Iron Fist. But they couldn't make Iron Fist because, much like how they are with the Mandarin, the idea of the white guy who goes into some Asian place and becomes the chosen one doesn't sit well anymore. So let's just take Shang-Chi, make it into an Iron Fist movie. So that whole special land place, that's basically Shai-Lai where Iron Fist got his powers from.
I didn't even think of that.
He's fighting a dragon.
You're right. You're right.
But these things happen. I mean, the film Mark Saltzman made Iron and Silk is a great film, and it's about a guy that goes to learn wushu in China, in communist China, of course, and like there's any other kind. He goes, and it literally is, and it's biographical. So you get the woke crowd. You just throw them this, like, look, there's precedence. It's not just, why do you have to see race everywhere? It's just based on a comic book movie. It's based on a comic book. Fuck you. Allow this guy to go there. Next time we'll have his girlfriend or the protagonist will be Puerto Rican. Is your quota now satisfied? I mean, fuck it.
But you know what? If they made these movies rated R, does anybody think that nobody gets into rated R movies if you're underage? Like seriously, there's nobody. Even at the theater I go to, is a huge theater. But there's no gatekeeper. You just walk in and they scan your phone and you go off. You go.
Right.
Nobody looking at your license or if you got your father with you. It's like in my day or whatever. Back in my day. No, but seriously, you had to have your father bring you to see Conan or whatever was rated R, Excalibur. Like my father had to take me to see those.
Yeah,
you want to hear
Blade Runner?
I famously took my son to see The Watchmen. And I straight up wasn't paying attention. I didn't even realize it was R-rated till we were in there. And my son was like 7 or 8 at the time. And no one said a goddamn thing. And we're sitting in there and there's schlongs everywhere and women in a rape scene. And my son was really sensitive back then. I'm like holding my hand over his eyes. I traumatized him for life.
Dyfus is getting in touch with you. No, here's a question. Let's think, for example, of you two. We want to talk bad parenting. I went to see the Cronenberg film Crash. Of the H.G. Wells book. Some parents brought their 4-year-old in. They paid for them to sit through it. I'm not joking.
My gosh! You can't tell me
there was no babysitter for that.
Right. That film is so creepy, man. Like they're all getting off on car wrecks sexually. I mean,
fucking open wounds.
I think I can win this challenge though.
I didn't know there was a movie. I didn't know there was a movie for that. That's It's Crash, like is it Ballad? What's
the Ballad? J.G. Ballard book.
Okay, I didn't know there was a movie for it.
Yeah, most people don't know there's a movie version of Tropic of Cancer, the Henry Miller book, and
that song. I think Warm Leatherette based on Crash, right? The song.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Derek,
I can win the bad parenting when you take your children to inappropriate movies contest. My dad used to, because there was a drive-in theater in Delaware, the Naaman's Theater. And my dad used to like to go to it. They would do double features. So he would take, I was probably, say, around 6.
Okay.
For the double feature of Black Mama, White Mama, and some movie about a women's prison that had Pam Grier in it.
Wow.
Broads behind bars.
Nice.
Where they were constantly being raped and abused topless all through the movie. So,
man, we gotta look that one up.
Watching nothing but boobs all on a giant outdoor screen.
So how has it affected you, Derek? As an adult, how has it affected you?
I think I'm pretty well adjusted.
One of my friends took a date to see Basic Instinct, a first date.
That is not a first date.
Yeah.
No.
What was the one? My first date was the one with what was it? The one with Michael Douglas and where they cooked the rabbit.
Fatal Attraction.
Fatal Attraction. Yeah, that was the first date one for me. That was kind of cringeworthy, whatever, seeing that.
Carrie?
Oh, that movie with Pam Grier was The Big Dollhouse, I believe. I'm reading the Wikipedia. The film follows 6 female inmates through daily life in a gritty, unidentified tropical prison. Do you remember it being tropical?
It was tropical. There were palm trees.
Okay.
So.
Was it in New Orleans? Jesus. I wanted to, there's one guy, he emailed me because one time on the QF, we, maybe it was a Patreon. It wasn't I think it was a regular episode. And I quoted Tracy Millman when she was arguing with Bowie and said, "How dare you, you fucking Adelphi graduate." And some guy got kind of pissed because he attended Adelphi. Not pissed, but he was like, you'll think Howard's full of shit on everything, but you believe him about Adelphi. And he didn't understand what I was referencing. So then he messaged and he said, I went to Hofstra, I went to this, I got my MA here, my PhD here, and I got my undergraduate degree in at Adelphi. And he said I was an usher I was a ticket collector at a movie theater in Long Island because he grew up in Long Island. He said Wiggy tried to get in with a friend using fake ID to see Russ Meyer's Super Vixens. He says he remembers him trying to get in and he wouldn't let them in. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, that's Super Vixens is quite a hetero, film to go see.
Yeah.
When we have we have evidence of him going to see Myra Breckenridge, and then being so charged up by it that he took off his shirt when he left the theater. Myra Breckenridge is about to trans.
Yeah, that's Raquel Welch, right?
Yeah. And it was a bomb. It was a massive bomb. Yeah.
What a letdown.
Oh God, that was in the latest breakdown of the Colford special where we just this is the film this is the film you're going to go see, a movie about a woman playing a man who's presumably trans but isn't in the end. It's a little freaky.
And he conned his buddies into going based on Raquel Welch. She's gonna get naked.
Right, of course.
Okay.
And she's
I don't remember any. I don't remember him talking about this. I must have missed this.
Well, it was in the Colford book, which I'm assuming he got from whatever early interviews he did with Newsday, because back when
that was probably before we were before I was listening.
Big time,
right?
So should we get into the arc of the Marvel movies and what's left of the corpse? Because the TV shows, I don't know how well they're performing. How does one get this metric of WandaVision and Loki and stuff? Because I've not seen any of it, and I have no interest really.
WandaVision, I watched the first two and I kind of never went back to it. But then I heard on Jim and Sam, they kind of gave a synopsis of it and it's like, okay, now I don't need to see any of it because I guess there's no need,
That works. But, Disney would love to hear that.
Yeah.
WandaVision
I was just
a cock tease the whole way. That's all it was.
I was just going to say, Fillmore, I don't know if you and I were talking about it on texting each other or Messenger or Twitter or something, but is it, and you guys would all know. So the Fantastic Four is back in the Marvel universe, right? It's away from 20th Century Fox.
I don't know if it's away, but I think it's been given to people supposedly it's been given. Well, we don't know anymore after Shang-Chi and fucking Eternals, but it's supposedly been taken away from their control in terms of creative control. Right. Whether or not they still have a piece of it, as they probably still do, but I think they're just saying, look, you guys can now make your stuff with it and hope. And so are you holding out hope that they'll finally get it right?
Yeah. I was curious whether, with the Easter eggs and the, and the stuff they're doing in trailers and at the end of the Marvel, the latest Marvel movies, maybe they're dropping hints of a Fantastic Four movie coming out. Yeah. Hopefully, to incorporate it in. I mean, because they can do so much with it if they ever get it right. But
Lena Dunham as the Thing would be perfect. Yes. Maybe Jada Pinkett Smith as Sue Storm, and the idea that they had, is it Michael B. Jordan?
Right.
Was that his name? They had him as Johnny Storm in that remake.
Right.
Well, that was horrible.
That was.
Wasn't that just I didn't understand the logic. I did not understand. We want to make this more inclusive. It's a story about 4 white people went up to space in a rocket ship. What's racist about it? They happen to be white.
And I mean, if they wanted to, I don't know. It didn't matter. I mean, I like him. I think he's a pretty good actor, and
phenomenal actor.
Yeah, and he does action movies great. So if they wanted to go that route. Okay, then if he's gonna be a brother, then he should probably have a black sister. I don't know. And then
why not have them all be black? I didn't understand why you make one person and that doesn't look like tokenism.
It'll be like the Black Odd Couple. Remember that? You guys probably don't remember that.
Well, now there's the Black Wonder Years.
It was
right?
It was Ron Glass. No, this was a like script by script remake with Ron Glass as Felix and Lamont from Sanford and Son as Oscar. Like it was
Desmond Wilson or something. Yeah,
Demond Wilson.
Yeah.
And then all of the ancillary players were, I think, like the Louis the Cop or whatever was still like everyone else were the same people. They used the exact same sets. I mean, it was, it was so bad.
Yeah, I remember that.
I have to check that out.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. That aside, though, so creative control of the Fantastic Four is back with Marvel. I mean, have you guys heard or seen anything? Any drops? Anything involving the four?
No, and I think what's happening is, and I'm not, I can't know for sure, but I thought that since this fourth, what's it called, the fourth arc or the fourth installment, fourth phase. Yeah, sorry, my mistake, guys. The fourth phase of the MCU is not really, I mean, they're making money. I'm sure they're making their money back, but it's not turning into this blockbuster motherfucker hit, because I see at the dollar store reams of Eternals stuff, like the way, they thought the Sylvester Stallone film Fist was going to be huge. So they had all these Fist belt buckles, in a warehouse somewhere in a landfill with Atari cartridges. And, they like, it's clearly no one gives a shit about the Eternals. So that if the Phase 4 doesn't work, they're going to have to have a hard reset and go back to a key team. And if that's the Fantastic Four, if it isn't the Avengers or a revamped Avengers, which you could always keep going with the Avengers, just change the characters, then they're going to need another team base to build the universe around. And that would be Fantastic Four in my opinion. That's the way I see it. And then, that's tentpole. Then that's hinging on them being successful with it, and I don't trust them to not fuck that up somehow.
See, they could do that. They could bring back a real Galactus. They could bring a real Silver Surfer. They could, and then Eternity, and also have the Guardians of the Galaxy involved, which we
completely.
I don't know why we don't. If they do it right.
Don't they have the Skrulls and the Super Skrulls with Guardians of the Galaxy 2? Am I remembering that right from the comic books?
I think that they did, but they were like Fox commandeered the rights to the Kree and the Skrulls, for their own stupid purposes, and then they were like almost an afterthought in Captain Marvel. I mean, once you start getting in that realm, you have so many more options that it's like it writes itself. So I don't know which way if they want to go family friendly the whole way. I think it's a mistake. It's short term. It's they're not thinking about what they could build on. And like I said, if you want to go family friendly, like I said, get Power Pack. You got to get Power Pack.
But they've already tried it. 20th Century Fox already tried and failed.
Yeah,
with Fantastic Four as a family-friendly property, if you will. And if you read the comics, it was never family-friendly, really. No. I mean, I know they made the cartoon, and that was like my first exposure to it in the late 60s.
Herbie the Robot.
But when I started reading the comic books, it wasn't kid-friendly. It really wasn't. I mean, there was a lot of, there were a lot of issues, like when Johnny Storm went to college and he was but he had his girlfriend was like a Skrull or something. I don't know, but there's all these conflicts, and then his sister was pissed off, and I mean, it was
sleeping
all
with
this
the
adult stuff. Yeah.
Well, Derek, what's your take on the whole Phase 4? I mean, aside from, for example, Doctor Strange, the next Doctor, that's the only thing I'm looking forward to. This new Spider-Man, I'll probably go see, but again, I have no interest. It looks like they're bringing in Alfred Molina, or from the trailer, to be Dr. Octopus, which is a great move, in my opinion. He's a great actor, even if they have to CGI his jowls. What's your take on what's happened so far with this Phase 4?
I think what they're doing now is they've got people basically like programmed that all of this stuff is connected. And so I need to watch this movie so I know what's going to happen in this movie. And it's all leading up to this big movie. And it's honestly not like that anymore. We're not leading up to Infinity War. So Eternals, you sit through this extra long movie and the after credit scene is really like nothing. That after credit scene didn't mean anything to anybody.
Yeah.
And Black Widow's thing, she's dead. So
Yeah.
it's like, so you watch that because we have to know what's going on here, so we know what's coming next. And they tried to play into that with her little sister, but who knows where that's going? Like, is there an Avengers movie on the horizon? No one has said anything. So where's that even leading to? So they're going to have to start making this stuff connect, because after a while, the people who they've got programmed to see everything because it has to be seen, so I know what's going on in Marvel movie number 17, they're going to start being like, well, this shit doesn't matter anymore, so I don't need to see this. I'll see Doctor Strange because he's got Scarlet Witch in it. I'll see the Spider-Man movie because Iron Man's in it. That type of thing. But so they're either going to have to start connecting dots, or they're going to have to start making actual movies that matter to people more.
They're going to start calling it Marvel Team Up.
Which is what they've been doing for pretty much the last 10 years has been Marvel Team Up.
Yeah.
And the Fantastic Four thing, they've got the rights back. I think there was a certain date that Fox would have needed to make another shitty movie to retain the rights.
Right. That's true.
They didn't do it, so it reverted back to Marvel. So it's theirs.
Yeah.
I think it's the same. I think the X-Men, they might have worked something out with them, but I think Fantastic Four is just theirs. And while there's nothing official coming out from Marvel, all the fans keep assuming that because Kang was introduced in Loki and Kang is an ancestor of Reed Richards, that means the Fantastic Four are coming in the Ant-Man movie. And because they're doing the Secret Wars thing with the Skrulls as a series on Disney Plus, and I honestly have no idea how, when they made the Skrulls into cuddly, fun friends of humanity in that Captain Marvel movie, why the hell are they going to be doing a secret war and impersonating people on Earth? Who knows? It's supposed to be our friend, but it'll probably be some benign reason, and it'll just be in name only, like that Ultron movie was. But there's no concrete stuff coming out, but people are just assuming. Yeah, connecting dots where there are none, which is, to take it all back to Disney Plus, every fucking Marvel TV show basically tickles your balls with a feather, but then it walks away from you when you're rock hard waiting for something to happen. Nothing comes.
That's bad.
WandaVision is basically, it wasn't just fans, it was Marvel too. The people who worked on that show were all feeding into the Mephisto thing. Mephisto's behind it all. Mephisto's coming, and no Mephisto. Even now with the Hawkeye show, Kingpin's coming. It's going to be Kingpin, and I'm like, maybe it will be, but it's just as possible it could be Crossfire, or the guy who juggled, who used to fight Hawkeye in the 80s.
Sam Roberts.
Speedball.
Sam Roberts pointed it out. He said there's no reason to watch these shows, because there's nothing changes from before the show to after. Everything just gets, it really has nothing to do with anything by the end, that's the truth, The other thing I've really had it with is, why can't we have a Spider-Man that's just a goofy kid in a costume? Why does he have to have stock tech every single movie?
Well, yeah, because you're still selling different. Yeah, because you got to sell different characters, right? You can't just sell He-Man. You got to sell Battle Armor He-Man as well.
Yeah, right.
You got to sell menstrual, She-Ra and shit.
But if they bring up Tony Stark in this next movie, it's just it's gonna enough already, It just the Spider-Man's, what you're basically saying is the flagship character of the Marvel universe isn't good enough to stand on his own without Iron Man armor.
That's right. Yeah,
it's bad.
How many origin story movies are we up to with Spider-Man? There are at least 3, right?
Yep.
Well,
how many times did you tell an origin story?
They didn't give for this one. They didn't give an origin story.
Batman's been doing it since the 60s. That's me.
It's super sad.
If they were smart with Batman, what they do is set it in the 40s or something without, make it back in the old days. Why does Batman have to be current? The same kind of like what they did with Man from U.N.C.L.E. I kind of liked how they did that. In that movie, they set it back in the time James Bond might be best back in the stuck in a 60s time.
60s, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you could do that now. I mean, it's funny because I was watching Thunderball not too long ago.
Okay.
And James Bond's basically raping women. I mean, what I mean? He's like grabbing, the girl that works at the gym, and he's like, oh, come up to me, and he's like forcing her down, and oh, James. I
watched it recently too.
Yeah, but so I don't know if you can like kind of put that modern day sensibilities back into a time when we know there weren't those sensibilities. You know what I mean?
Well, it could be. It would be like James Bond set in like like Mad Men time, even.
Sure.
Right. Yeah, but you know what? Let's put it this way: you would definitely have to make it rated R, and not kiddify it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you treated it that way, then it would be the way to do it if you were going to do it. But the way they made those movies with Sean Connery back then were just, I mean, you look at them now and you just laugh.
Well, yeah. I mean, how many women did he slap over the whole time? And then you think about that Barbara Walters interview where he goes, I don't know. I wouldn't change anything.
What was his line? Some women deserve a slap.
Yeah. He said something like, she goes, do you think it's good? He goes, no, I don't think it's good. I think it's, women sometimes they have a way of, they want the last word and you give them the last word and then it's not enough. I said, then, and only then, I think it's the right move. Wow. Sean Connery, the only man who could say that without a hint of irony and like mean it, and then not have women like, because he's just that much of a man. He's like the Chuck Norris memes start coming out. He's like, I could slap him on the ass, nothing's going to happen, and they'll be hot for me, even as an older man. That's unbelievable. So rest in peace, 007. Well, unless you guys got anything more, we probably should just wrap this one up. Just one more thing, though, I got to ask. Are you guys looking forward to either of the Doctor Strange or the Spider-Man films?
Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Doctor Strange. Spider-Man, I might just see if there's nothing else to do.
Okay.
I'm guaranteed to see it, but I'll probably be cringing with all the stock tech through the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah. Gary?
Same here. I would watch Doctor Strange, but the Spider-Man, I don't know. I'm just kind of over it.
Yeah. I'm tapped out on Spider-Man. Strange is definitely in my wheelhouse, but if they start to go cutesy and invite all of a sudden there's going to be like Ewoks or some shit in the film, then I might have to give Doctor Strange the permanent heave-ho as well. Anything you want to... Yeah, Wayne, anything? Any closing thoughts? Yeah?
Yeah, one movie that we never talked about is how they ruined Wonder Woman.
Yeah, was that how bad was it? It was same director, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's just horrible. It was like, that was another. It was almost as bad as Green Lantern, where I was like, I don't give a shit about any of this. And it was like just too over the top 80s that it looked fake.
Mm-hmm.
The CGI, there was like a fight in that mall that looked ridiculous, but it's just like the one before it was so good, and now I think they kind of tanked Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
I never got to see it.
Mm-hmm.
We never got to talk about it.
Patty Jenkins had this idea in mind where she wanted, because she loved the Linda Carter TV show, Wonder Woman TV show. So she basically wanted to do a movie that was basically like in the spirit of that, which I understand and I get. But that TV show was terrible.
We weren't watching it for the content.
Yeah. Take off the nostalgia glasses and recognize that the 70s Linda Carter Wonder Woman show was not a good show.
Yeah.
So do it in spirit, but don't do it like that. She just basically was in this whole Wonder Woman is about love. No, Wonder Woman is about beating people up.
Right.
And she can love beating people up, but she needs to be beating people up.
Carrie?
No, I was going to say the 70s Wonder Woman show. Yeah. I mean, look, this was right around the time of my, sexual awakening. So, man, I was all over Wonder Woman in the 70s, man. I loved it. Loved it. But But with that being said, I remember the early versions were period pieces. They were like, you know, Wonder Woman was back in the 40s and fighting, you know, Nazis and the Japanese and all this stuff, and they would have shows about that. But then I want to say maybe the last season or the last two seasons, they went into this, Wonder Woman's, Wonder Woman is modern in the 80s. And I'm like, how did that happen? And then they still have the same cast.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait a minute. Well, if shouldn't Lyle Wagner be like, you know,
I think it was supposed to be his like grandkid or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it was.
But then all the villains, villains became like Dr. Shrinker type bad guys.
Right.
Sid and Marty Krofft.
But it was like it you know, even as hot as Linda Carter was back then, and watching it just to see her, the stories were so bad that it was just like, I lost interest. I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible.
True confession.
Right. And it seemed like that's what they were trying to recreate in that second movie. And it's like, you want to recreate that? That was the worst part of it.
True confession. When I would watch that TV show, the Wonder Woman, the original one. Well, there's no other one, but when I was watching it, it was never with the sound on. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining on this one. I hope you guys all had fun. We hope you guys have enjoyed this too. Radio Karate is a sister show of QF. It's there for you guys for shits and giggles, and it'll be on all our podcast apps as well as YouTube.